Let me know if you can hear me, if my visuals are good and everything sound good. Let me know, folks. I went live. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. Hopefully, it went live correctly. Wow. There you go. I'm live. Let's see. Give me a second. Okay, bear with me. I want to make sure things are correct. Okay, I'm back, folks. So here we go. Let's get started. Michael Pepper joined. Okay, let me do my intro and then I will get my guest. Bear with me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Repeat again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. This is Tech for Your Needs, and today we're gonna talk about what I use in my guests for content creation, and give a little background what we use and stuff like that, and do the pros and cons and everything that we have, and we're gonna talk about what is our experience with our equipment, what is our limitation, what is our stuff and stuff like that, and what we learn, and just a basic conversation on what we use to create our content creation on different platform and medium. Well, with that said, I'm going to bring my guest. Let me know if you're ready.
I'm always ready.
Hey, how you doing? Okay, give me a second. Okay. Okay, that should be enough. I just want to make sure everything's correct. So my guest is Michael Pepper, and like I said earlier, um, as you see him, and most of y'all know him already, you might think it's a new person because of the haircut, but it's fine. You remind me of that. You remember somebody that he did a show, and it was kind of like about drugs and stuff like that.
Walter White.
There you go. Is that's the one that did with the family on
Breaking Bad.
425? There you go. That's what you remind me. Yeah. So we're gonna do. I'm gonna break it down in different categories, and we're gonna go lighting, camera, audio, and stuff like that. And we're gonna talk about equipment, and then at the end, we're gonna give the pros and cons, and what is good about each stuff that we bought and stuff like that. And I'll do my best to leave description below on everything. So what I'm gonna do is when I talk about the lighting, I'll go first, then Michael go, then I'll go, then Michael go, and stuff like that. So we could break it down. So back and forth.
First of all, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we talking about like streaming, recording, both? Do we want to do recording
Everything you
then
use to create.
streaming? We want to. I can just explain what I use for what, as so we can just do both. Since I do both, since I'm doing both, then
Yeah, you can do everything. Everything you do for content creation, streaming, everything.
cool.
Let's not leave one part because some of us are not streamer yet. So therefore, because I know a few people that come in, they're not streamers, so I want to give them more info on stuff and more valuable info for their buying decision if they like what I have.
Because I have multiple setups for different uses. So do you want? I guess I
Oh,
can
that's
go through
cool.
the
Yeah, you can
different
say that
because
too.
because of the fact that I have my stationary set up and then I have like my mobile, so if we're gone, sort of set up. So
Yeah, you could break both. That'd be good.
for people that are looking, I mean, price point's going to be pretty much the same if you think about it, because
Hmm.
desktop has a little bit more to it than my mobile.
Yeah. Okay, let me go over here and say hi to everybody because I forgot. So I'm gonna make sure I put this over here. I don't drop my phone. Okay. Before we get into the subject, hey, LaShawn. Oh, I'm a little shoppy. I don't know. Am I?
You were at first. When I first came in, you were a little. You're still a little delayed to me, but
Is it by
it's
much?
it's better than it was when I first started.
Oh, okay.
You're still
Hey,
probably at
Sharky.
like when I first came on, you were at like 14 frames per second, and you're probably closer to 20 now.
Oh, okay.
It's better.
Hey, guys,
I think
everybody.
I think Melon just needs some work.
No, it's my internet. I got a low internet. I got to come up with the catch and get more higher bandwidth. So,
It's
hey,
weird though, cause like when
Barry.
you join my streams, you're fine, but I think it's because you're hosting, so it requires more bandwidth.
Oh no, because probably I don't have the same equipment. I'm just doing through a regular USB. So maybe the equipment
Ah,
might be the problem.
yeah, more bandwidth required for the.
Hey, mom, or my niece. I don't know what name she used on the internet, but
Oh, your mom
because
and your niece have the same name.
yeah, and the same last name. So, um, let's start with the mobile. Mobile, the one that you use like to go around and record you. That's better, and then we ended up with the live stream. If you, I'm think, yeah, that's good. So that's what you use for mobile, right?
Yep, MacBook Pro 14-inch, M1 Pro base model, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 storage. I didn't upgrade anything. I didn't, go for the higher
Mm-hmm.
core count or higher memory or higher storage. Um, I'll say real quick the reason why is because with everything, including my iPad, I use this. So I have a SanDisk. It's a 500 gig portable drive. It's fast enough. It's not like super fast like some of these Thunderbolt drives now that are ridiculously fast. But it's
Yeah,
fast enough for what I'm doing. I'm not recording anything at like high frame rate, high bit rate. I'm not recording anything like 8K that
mm-hmm.
basically is going to be faster than this drive. This drive is plenty for what,
Yeah,
and I can upgrade
yeah.
eventually.
Let's
I
take
want to
over for a
get
second.
I want to get some T7 Samsung drives eventually, and of course down the line once I've developed more with my channel, more evergreen material, which is what I'm trying to get more consistent at, than backing up stuff to like a NAS or higher quantity of storage will be nice. Apart from that, I also have two microphones, and I can break them down and take them with me pretty easily. I have AKG P120, which is what I'm using right now. I also have an Audio Technica AT2020, and what I would do on the go is grab the AKG and the stand and put it in my backpack because it's just a desk clamp stand, and I can clamp it to like a table at a hotel or anything like that. And
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry for the noise.
and take it with me. I have my audio interface. I have a Scarlett 2i2 for at home, which now makes it really nice because I don't have to actually take that apart. I can just grab my microphone and cable and bring my um, Scarlett Solo Gen 3 with me. So that would just be single cable via USB-C into my laptop. And then my camera For on the go, I haven't decided. I probably would bring my regular camera with me and another tripod, but it kind of depends where we're gonna be. Um, More likely, I just use my iPhone as my camera, and I use Epoch Cam for that, uh, just because it's simple to set up. I can use it wired one cable, Lightning to USB-C into one of the ports, and then, like I said, USB-C to USB-C for my audio interface. And I have a nice portable setup. It doesn't even need to be plugged in. Battery's gonna last plenty long, and that's kind of my mobile setup. And then as far as like recording video, I use my iPhone for most recording. Um, when I'm on the go for B-roll and things like that, or like screen recording when I was doing some tutorial videos, which I dropped 2 videos today. Um, and then as far as lighting, I'm just gonna obviously if I'm on the go, I don't currently have any like Elgato. They have like the mini portable LED light boxes that you can get that are just they're about the size of an iPhone. I don't have anything like, or they have ones that are like about the size of like an iPad mini. They don't. I don't have one of those yet. I am not. It's not like I'm gone away from here that often enough for that. If I was, then I would grab a couple of those and like a portable tripod with one of those dual mounts. So you just mount it to the top, and then it has a mount on each end, and you can hook it onto it. And what's nice about the there's off-brand ones too, but those portable lights like that is they're USB powered. So they have battery in them, but if you need to charge them, you could just plug in. And since my MacBook has 3 USB-C ports, one of them would be available, and I have a dongle around here somewhere that I can just plug in USB to that. I mean, it has the memory card slot, so if I'm recording with my camera, I can do that. As far as, so that's kind of my on-the-go. I basically use the same setup whether I'm streaming or recording. I've gotten to that because then it's easy, and I don't have to remember like to change settings on things. I don't have to worry about angles. I can just use the exact same setup. And I just realized my microphone was like decided to take a dive.
Mm.
But
So that's what basically you use?
oh, and then I almost forgot because I got this somewhat recent since the last time I've been away from home. But iPad Mini as
Oh,
second
yeah.
screen is really nice. And for editing my thumbnails, using it with Sidecar, like if I'm live streaming, I can use it that way, or with universal control and have like the chat open on the side, or just stream from it. So if I'm joining somebody as a guest, I mean the cameras on it are decent enough. If I'm away from home or quiet enough environment, it's fine. When we
Yeah,
get to
buddy.
at home setup, I'll explain why I wouldn't use that. Do that here.
Okay, cool. So currently, I'm gonna go for my mobile, and this is for mobile, and this is for all my content creation. On, I use my iPad. So let me put it on me the camera. So I use my iPad with the Magic Keyboard. That's what I use. Sorry for the fingerprints, and it's got a skin all around. So let me take it off. It's the 11-inch 2020, and it's 128 gigabytes. And with that, also I have the Pitaka case on the back. So that's what I use at the current moment. And on actually, let me put this over here. Give me a second, folks. That's what I do all my editing on Lumiere Fusion, the software. Also, I use my CB1 all the time. I don't use the phone at all, not at all. I use that all the time. And also, I'm gonna start using this audio when I record outside. It's gonna be the Rode Wireless Go 2. It's a wireless lavalier mic. That's what I'm using. Also, I got a $9 mouse I don't got it with me, but I take that everywhere. Also with my iPad because my iPad is skin, so the mouse is not that smooth. So I also got this dongle. It got all these ports, SD cards, pass through everything. The only thing you don't have is that you cannot put a 3.5 millimeter to the headphone HDMI, and also what else? Oh, I got this. Let me take it off. I got a Will Secure. It's a bear with me, folks, while I get it out. It's a Samsung T5. I don't got the T7. It's a T5. Put it right there. I mean, it's a T5, so y'all can see it. That's what it is. I don't have the product showcase. Also, I have the Apple Pencil Gen 2. And also, I got this Ulanzi tripod that I use with my camera. And also, I don't have it on my camera, but I got a cage that I put because of the battery issue. When you open it, it hit the battery, so you can't take off the battery. And that's what I use for my really mobile setup. Let me bring my micropaper back. So that's all I use. I use LumiFusion for everything.
I almost forgot.
Go ahead.
Important thing if you're going to be recording video and editing. Yeah, you were choppy when you went full screen, but
Okay, let me drop it to 720p.
headphones. Important.
Oh yeah.
I wear these when editing because I have the cable, so I can plug them in direct for low, no latency or low latency. Or I bring one of my pairs of periodic audio IEMs. It doesn't necessarily matter which ones I grab. Typically, I use the carbons or the what's the other one? Anyways, there's two pairs that I use most often because they have clean as far as voice, and they're rather pretty flat in that, not really high in the bass or high in the on the high end or anything like that. They're pretty level out as far as knowing that the audio is going to be clean. I just have to remember when I use those that the volume is going to sound higher to me than what it's going to sound like to other people. So what I do is I'll set my volume on my computer at like 15%, 18%, because then I know that will be about what other people would hear at half volume. So with those, it's important to do that. Obviously, with these, they're pretty well even at what people are going to hear. And,
Okay.
But then the other thing is like playing back through like your phone speaker or like playing back through a different like a device that it's more in line of what other people might be listening on before I save it is an important kind of tip there. And then the other reason for this is because then I don't have to have everything on my desktop, and I can just plug in, pop it open, and I know that it can be consistent, and I have all my thumbnails because I have like certain images on here of certain things. So when I'm talking about the same device, I have multiple angles that I took of the same angles of the devices. So I don't have to reshoot, or if I'm gone, I can do a video and not have to worry about having a space to take the photo and crop it out and do all that. And it's just important to back up stuff. I don't back up the clips, I just back up the final stuff because I figure if something goes wrong, I'm not re-editing. I'm going to re-upload the same video, most likely.
Yeah, let me answer this question quick if you don't mind. I signed up for Lemon, and I hope it doesn't. No, it's not. Micropaper is using Lemon. It's just my speed. That's what I'm having problem. My speed is low because Micropaper had the same problem, and he raised up his speed, pay a little bit more, and look at now how smooth it is. It's also depend on your speed. You could vouch to that.
Yeah,
So it's
and it's interesting because the interesting aspect is because it's not hosted on your machine, you could be sitting over there like jittery and laggy, and I would come through just as clear as can be as what I would be when I'm hosting, because my speeds are different to their server, so it doesn't matter what your speeds are necessarily, I think. Same thing as if you crashed out completely and went away, I would just be sitting here talking to nobody. It's not relying on your end, which is kind of nice. But yeah, it seems to be that Melon is requiring more bandwidth. I'd be curious. I'd have to pop open Activity Monitor and check some things when I'm using this and when using. Actually, I can do that right now. I think I should be able to monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to add what I used the headphones for. I got two set of headphones. I bought one. I don't recall what it is, but I'll put it on the description. You could put them back here. It's almost like an ear monitor, but they're not because they're connected. The cable won't come out. It was recommended by somebody. And also, I use the AirPods when I'm outside. Like doing if I go to Starbucks and I want to, sit there and edit video and stuff like that. That's what I forgot to mention.
It seems to
Mm-hmm.
be pretty resource intensive as far as um
Mm-hmm.
although right now the network's only running at like kilobits per second as far as like sent and received, but um yeah, it's pretty minimal on my end. I'd be curious to know what the actual, because that's Activity Monitor, which isn't going to tell me much. I'd be curious to know what the actual bandwidth is on it. But so that's another thing we can talk about. I forgot to include, because I talked about hardware and stuff, but software. I've actually been using Melon to record, and then just downloading the recorded file as a MOV or MP4 file, and then
Mm-hmm.
I bring that into. Well, lately it's been LumaFusion, because the videos I've been doing have been fairly simple, and the style that I do them is usually, if I mess up a take, I'll just reshoot, unless it's like I'm trying to get a reaction or something. And then I use DaVinci Resolve if I'm going to use something other than LumaFusion. I did use iMovie on a video not too long ago, but even after the update, it's not super. I don't know how to put it. It's not. It's not.
It's not up to your standards.
Yes, it's not enough for what I need to do. And if I was going to use it for that, it would take too much work.
Hey, Obara, go ahead.
Sharkfin had a question about 200 megabits being enough for 1080p Melon stream. I think it depends on your uplink. Cause
Yeah,
like I
it's all
have
about
gigabit.
upload.
Yeah, because like I have gigabit download and 40 meg up, and that seems to be enough now. Now keep in mind the other thing about that is there's a range. So, mine varies from 30, 35, 40, like it's kind of in that range. And obviously if somebody else is watching something or or you're doing anything that's using any upload, it's going to affect it a little bit. But the modem I have handles 2.5 gigabits per second, and my routers can handle like 7 point something, so they're plenty powerful enough as far as
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna add something to that. We don't know until we try the actual equipment because we got to try. When I tested with him, because currently, no need to freak out with me. Just test it. If you need to improve, then we'll work on that. It's too soon to tell without trying the equipment. That's my advice.
Yeah, I would say like the other thing about it is you can always try it. You don't. They have the free version, so you can try it out, and then if it doesn't work for you, try StreamYard or Restream or
Hmm.
there's what's the other one? There's a bunch of them out there that you can try and see what works with your best with your setup with your, because that's the other thing. Sometimes it's how the particular streaming service handles like the USB inputs in the feeds from your machine, and um, whether it's optimized for that or not as well. But
Yeah, another thing, if you're doing USB regular, 720p or USB regular, it's gonna work. But if you started adding like a capture card, then you need more speed, and that's my problem. I got a capture card, so I'm trying to get better quality. So therefore, that's also hindering me. But I mean, I'm gonna check the prices and why could I increase my internet to get better. It's just all about your upload. If your upload is fast enough, then you'll be good enough to go. That's also, it depends. If you regular USB repeat again for those that here in the back, you're good to go. You're golden because I've been doing that for a while. I just wanted to introduce more quality, and I guess I suffer for it.
yeah, and what the other thing I would suggest to anybody, of course, with streaming, if possible, if you, unless you have like way overkill internet for what you need, um, if you want the optimal would be to be hardwired. So,
Oh yeah, hardwire
if
versus
possible,
wireless.
Ethernet, hardwired in. The thing is, I'm literally next to my internet comes in right here, right through this wall. And so I'm literally next to the router, and I'd have to use an adapter to be plugged in, which would take up one of my ports on my computer, and it's not necessary with the speeds, because I get the same
Ted,
speeds on Wi-Fi as now the latency that would be important, but my latency over Wi-Fi is like 9 milliseconds, so it's still way plenty fast enough.
yeah, that's true.
Oh, so we talked about on the go setup. So, and I started kind of talking about at home. So like right
Yeah,
now,
let's get into home setup.
and I didn't even mention what camera I was using either. So I have the Sony A6100 right now. I'm using the Sigma 30 millimeter. I want to get the 16 millimeter eventually. Hopefully, our taxes are supposed to come in soon, and after we pay off some things, and we need to get a new vehicle, and so after that's the important bills and everything's taken care of and put some money aside, my plan will be to get that lens and probably a capture card, and then and then I use my iMac, and I have a LG 27-inch 1440p. It's the LG Ergo monitor that I have connected via USB-C over to um,
Yeah, let me read this question before you continue. The question though, would you sooner blow the gigabyte speed? Oh, yeah, I don't know too much about that.
it's the problem with SpaceLink is you're gonna have
Yeah,
latency. Speed doesn't really matter if your latency is there.
true.
If they could provide, you know, 7 gig speed, 10 gig speed, they could provide 40 terabyte speed to me. But if the latency is too much, it's not gonna matter. You could have 30 meg speeds, but have 1 millisecond latency, and that would be better for a lot of things than gigabit with horrible latency. So
You know. So yeah, let's talk about the home setup that you do.
So I had like I said, I have the 27-inch LG Ergo monitor plugged into the um, M1 24-inch M1 iMac base model, um, and then I have on the other second port on the back of my M1 Mac, I am using, actually it's just a USB-C OTG adapter, USB-C to USB adapter connected to my audio interface. My camera is running through my monitor, so it's connected
Hmm.
up.
And That's what you have, and that's what else you record with, and what you use for recording everything at home to make the videos.
It depends on what I'm doing, but like the videos that I did recently, so is the videos that I dropped today. I did one that was just showing how to. It was an updated video on how to set up Apple ID without using a credit card. And with that
Correct.
one, I just did a screen recording on my MacBook, and then I brought that into LumaFusion, and I cropped it the way I wanted, and I cut out the parts that I didn't need in there, and then I used the microphones from the MacBook to record the voiceover on it.
Oh
Um,
wow, that sounds good.
then the disable macro mode on iPhone 13 video, I did a screen recording on the iPhone, and then I just used the built-in microphones on the iPhone, because when you're doing a screen recording, you can choose to use the built-in microphone. So I just did that. Um, and so that's what I use for that. But for it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm just sitting down like talking to the camera, like my AirPods Max video, I'm using one of the two microphones. Usually I've been using the Audio-Technica AT2020 just because I like the arm and how I can have it positioned better, and it doesn't. The other one, for some reason, wants to fall over on me or tip over on me.
Oh
I
yeah.
can sit back a little bit better, and it's not in the way of my arms. Um, so I use the camera, bring it into Melon, and instead of going live, I hit record. I look up at the camera, I do my recording. There's B-roll that's typically going to be recorded with my iPhone, and then airdropped over, just because it's simpler. I've used my S22 Ultra to record video, and then used Snapdrop to send it over. It's just that's more of a or plugged it in, and that's just more of a process. It tends to take longer. Also, sometimes with like the B-roll, if it's just little clips, by the time it's done, it will be uploaded and synced up to my Apple Photos, and then I can just go on my Mac and drag it out of there, so that I don't have to even do any of that type of transfer. And I have Google
Correct.
Photos, but it
Oh,
takes
that
a
takes
while.
longer.
It takes a while to back up videos through that for some reason. So that's kind of my at-home setup, is kind of the same as on the go, just desktop iMac instead of my MacBook, and then um, it, I'm probably going to be switching over to using my desktop PC that I built a few years ago,
Oh. Uh-huh.
just because um, I want to take my iMac and put it on a different table and have that for different use, for like editing station, for like simple edit stuff, and for my wife to be able to use, and have just my LG monitor set up with my desktop, because my desktop has more ports and I can make it kind of a cleaner look, have a single monitor. I don't have to worry about like having a monitor on just because I'm using it basically as a hub with my Mac,
Mm-hmm.
and um, Ethernet cable. And for some reason, some of these softwares, the streaming services and like recording, something with the Sony software for putting the video through USB seems to be better on the Windows version of it still. And so, and I might as well use it if I have it. And just just the ports that it has, and I can use DaVinci Resolve on there or Filmora to edit.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's correct.
but mainly just for streaming, so that I have a streaming spot, and then I'll have a editing setup, because more and more I'm using my iPhone to record video. So that's kind of what's changing. So I'm in the process of changing, just because, yeah, my camera's clean, but I have decent lighting in here, and most people can't tell when I record with my iPhone or my because it's not like I have. I mean, you could tell like this bokeh, but it's not like I'm moving stuff around a lot and doing a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been switching over to doing more how-to stuff and then getting back into my discussion videos. So the people that really like that stuff, that have been missing that, that's going to be coming back. And then my live streaming starting this week is going to be a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Yeah, so I'll share mine. I use everything the camera. The reason that I'm using the camera because um, I want to learn how to get better with this. So if I have to do more outside clientele project, I know what to do on the fly, so I don't have to struggle. That's one thing, and also it's the same thing because I edit everything on my iPad. But I'll give you a little. See if y'all could see this. See my best ability. I don't know if y'all could see that. Wait, let me pull down the. It's too bright. So, and this, I don't know if you can see that. Sorry for the lighting. That's my setup. So I'll zoom in. I don't know if you can see the computer. The computer is a Dell XPS 13 inch, top of the line, and it has a 3K monitor because I couldn't get the 4K. I also have a Logic Craft keyboard from Logitech. I just got recently this based on Michael. I got it. I use this because I bought this Carpio thing, wrist rest, because I didn't like the hum. It was bothering me and I was frustrated. So I bought this and it's worth investment. So I also got my monitor. If y'all could see my monitor, it's a 27 inch. Let me zoom in. A 27-inch LG 4K monitor that I have. And my desk is just basic desk, nothing big. It's just basic IKEA lemon desk with the IKEA draw, Alex, nothing to brave of that, and a regular chair. But I use that when I'm there, but I'm always recording not recording, but editing on my actual tablet. So what I do is sometimes I connect my tablet if I want to get a better canvas and try to edit that way sometimes. Because I got a cable that is long enough so I could move it back and forth. So I could edit with a pencil and I put it on a different case, a regular body cover case, and I use it like that to edit. So when I look up, when I, connect it to the mouse to, view the timeline and, make it full screen. So that's better for me. And that's basically what I have. Well, this is an old picture because I got speakers, but I got the Pebble speakers in white, and I don't have this no more. That's the Logic 9C20. So that's basically what I use the same, and the SSD is the same. Samsung ST5. So basically that's what I use to record my videos if I do videos at home when I do video because it's rare, but that's what I basically use. So do you want to go into live streaming? What you use for live streaming? Or we already discussed that. I don't recall.
I use the same thing, so
Yeah, me too. I use the same thing. The only thing that with my live streaming, I took out the USB live streaming and I added capture card. Now I got it. That's hindering my bandwidth, but it's okay because I'm gonna upgrade the bandwidth and to see what's going on. So that's
Chad
what I
asked
do.
about
Mhm.
service. Do we think service providers have big impact on latency? I figured that is something consumers would control with better infrastructure. Well, we don't have control on the infrastructure. That's the problem. We only have the only thing that we are allowed to even remotely have any effect on potentially would be the modem and router that we use. But outside our house, it's not like we can be like, oh, connect to a we want you to connect to that pole because it's closer. If they have a deal where they can't run through that property, or even things like agreements at apartment complexes, there's agreements in sometimes HOAs, housing, um, housing organizations and administrations and stuff in areas will have agreements with certain providers, and that's all about to end anyways, because of a bill that's either has passed or is set to pass, and I think that takes effect by the end of this year. Is they're not allowed to have those deals in secret anymore, which means they can still have the deals, but they're probably less likely to do it if they have to kind of be public about the agreements that they have. That, like here, I have basically one provider that I have access to, and that's Spectrum. There is another one. There is actually a company called like Fire Wi-Fi,
Mm-hmm.
and they have different deals. They're kind of expensive per month. They'll have a promotion. One of the things I saw was like $100 to set up and $50 a month for unlimited through, but that's using T-Mobile connection. Their
Mm-hmm.
Verizon and AT&T ones are like $200 a month for unlimited.
Oh
So,
wow.
so obviously I can't be streaming and uploading videos and have to worry about caps and stuff and worry about like latency shifts. So the problem is the T-Mobile one would be okay, but for the download, but the uploads links right now, at least on my phone, and I wouldn't know without testing it. And of course, even if I tested it and it turned out it wasn't okay, I'd still be out, $150 or whatever. I would have the stuff, and then if down the line it improved and I wanted to go back, then I might just set up again. But there's really no other options, and there's a lot of places that are that way that we don't. There's no real vouching for the consumer as far as ISPs in the
Correct. Because
states.
currently I'm using Xfinity, but I don't got the Xfinity regular package. I got a special bundle for like a special bundle for people that make certain amount of money per year. So they lower it. Instead of paying $40, $50, you just pay like $15, $16. But I gotta look into that to get more because yeah, my upload it's not good enough. If I do, like I said earlier and repeat again, I do regular USB streaming. It's okay, but it's only capped at 720p, and I want to get 1080p. I'm paying for it, so that's what I want to get better quick speed. For me, it's better to have that for my own sanity, and also it look good to have better quality because if a brand deal comes along and you don't know, somebody could be peeking and be like, oh wait, he got good quality, he got this and that, okay, let me you know try to recoup him or whatever is the deal they give you on the brand deal. So you also got to be, and what I'm trying to say in short words, put your best forward and use the best you can with the means that you have. Just don't go crazy and go broke. That's another advice that I want to give when you're doing all this. Because content creation is good, but don't go with the acronym GAS, because yeah, acquisition syndrome also could drive you crazy. I'm blessed that I got two of these, and I'm happy. I have used both outside, not in my house, but it's working. It's lovely. I can't complain. You know what I mean? So,
When you said you were blessed you had two of these, I thought you were gonna like point at your eyes or ears or something.
oh, yeah, no, but to tell you the truth, you don't have to break the bank to get good stuff. You could get good quality. Let me explain that. Don't go out buying stuff, and because, like for example, if you don't have the skills, then do not upgrade the equipment because it's not gonna matter. Just live within your means, and that's the advice that I give people. Because there's people streaming with phones that look amazing, and they can handle the speed. And like that's why I was referring to Sharky and other people in here because he's about to do all this pretty soon. I said we're gonna test it, and then from that point on, you worry about it because currently right now it's too early to tell. You know what I mean? So
That's the crazy thing. So I was doing some
go
like
ahead.
benchmarking and testing, and the my iPad Mini is in line with, and in some instances actually beats out the 2018 iPad Pros that had like the A12Z chip. That was the last one that they did before they went to the M1 models. Because it's
Mhm.
got the A15, even though it's just the A15, it's not like an A15X or anything. But it's got um, it's got a more efficient chip. That's when they switched to the faster clock speeds. So it's only like 2.95. It's actually my iPhone actually beats it in like multi-core stuff and in even some of the things. But like as far as like most tasks that I require, most of the time like editing stuff, sometimes it uses multi-core, but a lot of that's just reliant on single core and the amount of memory you have. So whether I'm editing on like an M1 iMac, my iPhone, or an iPad or my iPad, the difference for what I do is a lot of times it's a very similar experience. Now, like when I'm editing in 4K and I'm bringing in like overlays and other transitions and starting to do
Mhm.
stuff like that, obviously the fastest is my M1 Pro um, MacBook because
Yeah.
that starts taking into account like multi-core and I have layers and stuff going on. But like for people, so like if somebody's like, oh, I have my phone and I'm looking into editing and or I'm looking into shooting videos, what do you suggest I do? And maybe they're like, I wanna maybe they have like an older iPhone or they have an Android device and they're like, I want to use LumaFusion because I've heard good things about it. Or um, they
Bro,
want to use, instead of buying trying to spend 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $1,000 on a computer right away before they know that they're even going to be able to go through with it and do this long term and keep up with it. Um, in all honesty, like the iPad Mini, or even like the previous iPad Air, not the new one that has like the M1, but like the previous iPad Air. Of course, now the previous iPad Air with like the A14, A15, or whatever. Yeah, previous gen stuff. Um,
yeah, you could get open box deals or stuff like
they
that.
have deals right now for those like new on Amazon and through like Best Buy and stuff where they were
Hmm.
selling them for like $3.99 or whatever. But even like the mini, um, as long as you don't mind that it's smaller, but like for portability, and the other thing is you can even use an adapter, a pretty inexpensive adapter with it, and connect it up to like a monitor if you needed, like if you had needed a bigger display to kind of see things on, and LumaFusion lets you output to it. If you're editing your thumbnails, you'd have that bigger display to see things on,
Yeah,
and that
bigger
and
canvas.
yeah, the base model is like $4.99 or whatever, and you can spend like $50 more or whatever, $100 more to jump up in storage. But like I said, and then buy one of these and be spending less and still have access to good video editing apps, good photo editing, and then you're not spending any money on like buying like Final Cut or um, like Adobe Premiere or Photoshop or anything like that. You're not spending money on, and I mean, there's free, like DaVinci Resolve is free, but like basic stuff. You can start out with iMovie on there,
Yeah, depending on
but
your
then
level.
after that, your uh, there are actually some really good free video editing apps like VSCO is one of them, and I've been
Power
looking into some of
Director.
them. I wanna actually, I think that's what I'm gonna do next. I think I'm gonna do a video on free apps for editing videos and photos, and it's not gonna just be aimed at like content creators. It's gonna be for people who want to put together like um, clips of like a family member or their kids for maybe a birthday party, or I guess on the darker side, if somebody passed away, because that happens, you want to put together memories and you have like clips of them and photos and stuff. Whatever the event is, wedding, you know, uh, maybe family member just had a new little baby and you have clips from people at the hospital
baptism and
holding
stuff like that.
whatever baptism, whatever events in
Mhm.
people's lives, putting those clips together, free apps that are good for that, and then also going to like beyond. But that's the amazing thing. Like, so you could tell somebody, okay, spend instead of spending $1,000 on a computer and then having to be like, well, now you got to buy a camera, um, you got to buy and you got to buy an audio interface and you got to buy all the stuff if you're gonna do that. Um, you know, you could say to somebody, just use your phone. If your phone's within like the last 3 years, it probably has a good enough camera on it, even for video. For most, as long as you record using natural light if you can. If not, go to like Walmart and buy. I got a 3-head lamp here. It was like $20 at Walmart. Bounce the light off the wall. You get decent lighting. Like I
Correct.
said, use outside light if you can, because it doesn't require it being as harsh, and you don't have to worry about like frequencies and stuff. Because one of the things that can happen is if you set your camera's frequency, like mine's at 1/60, but if I had it set to 1/30, sometimes with certain lights it'll flicker. So just people using what they have. Mine channel, I started out with an iPhone 10 and a 2014 MacBook Air, and I was editing in like iMovie and stuff. And then I went to using LumaFusion as soon as I heard about it on an iPad. And that's the thing, like,
Yeah, it's
somebody,
not what you
even if
have.
they have like an older, or even if they have like let's say they're like, oh, I just have like let's say they're like, my phone doesn't shoot very good video or photos or anything like that. I have I don't know, they have like Samsung A50, but they really like their phone. They're not going to upgrade their phone. You could go out and buy an older iPhone with like used, and like an iPad mini for less than the price that they would spend on buying stuff, and they would have a whole setup, and then they would have a phone that they could use if they wanted to switch over. But like, there's ways, or just record with an iPad. You could do it. The cameras on the
Mhm.
back aren't bad. I've taken some photos with it, so that's the other option, or one of the new Samsung tablets. Although
Okay, so check this out. I'm gonna surprise people. If you want to do this badly enough, you'll get started. Let me break it down. So right now, because I'm gonna give this advice and then I'm gonna go to my journey quickie. So my
I would
advice
say
is
just start on your phone.
yeah, buy good enough equipment, right? Enough equipment that don't break down. Make sure, because cheaping out it might cost more. You know what I mean? Also start with a phone. But since my phone was garbage,
That's the thumbnail right there. There.
yeah, since my phone, I don't know what phone I have. I have a garbage Android phone because after I left G1 HTC. I don't know what happened. I got what I could, and what I did is I was doing recording with my actual laptop webcam. Then for my webcam, I went to the Nexus 5, and then I started recording with my Panasonic Lumia G7. So it's just no excuses if you want to start, if you want to, because what I told people, if you come into this, I'm gonna talk to you depending on your level. I mean, because sometimes some people might come with, oh, they're already photographer and they might have some other equipment and stuff like that. So it depends. But if you're a newcomer and you're doing an Apple ecosystem, I recommend for the first time, if you never edit, iMovie. If you come into Android, I'll say Power Director. It's free and cheap. So and I mean, that's what I tell people. Use what you have. But if you're gonna buy equipment, make sure you buy equipment that is good enough that will last a couple of years. Because you don't want to be like, oh, I bought this cheap. And I'm not saying go buy the high end if you don't have money. Buy within your means, but don't buy something that's gonna break three months and it's gonna break again 3 months. That's 2 times you're spending more money, so it's gonna add up. So you got to take that in consideration, and that's really what I wanted to say. Is the drive, the passions that you will never give up. Yes, I left for a whole year, but I came back, and I'm here. And I might, I'm still doing. I'm producing videos. no matter what medium or format, I'm still doing videos a week. If it's live stream, that's still a video. So if you put your effort and you want to do this, you could do it. I mean, yeah, if you're new to the whole creation, you might have problems learning all this, or you might be scared to be in the camera, but it's all up to you. That's all I'm saying. I don't know
I
what
know
advice
people
you want
that
to give.
use KineMaster, and you can do some things for free, and then there's water. But even like that, if you don't want to pay a bunch, you can, or you want to try it. It's $2.99 per month, and you can then, if like after a month you start using it and you decide you really like it, then the better is I think it's $22.99 for like a year. Obviously, then that's like less than 8 months, you know, worth. So, and there's free, like I said, there's a bunch of free options. A lot of people have, I think a lot of people, there's a lot more people that have a computer that want to do this than, and you can use free software, like Windows Movie Maker, you can do quite a bit with, surprisingly. Um, Apple has iMovie. They have like even within like the Photos app itself, there's things you
Oh, I
can
forgot
do,
to
and you
tell you.
can trim clips, and
Apple have clips too. Remember clips? Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
you can go into like the Photos app and grab your clips that you've recorded, and if you need to like trim off the beginning because like you hit record and you waited like a half a second or a few seconds before you started talking, and then like you're reaching to hit end record at the end, trim those off of each segment first, and then bring it into iMovie and put them all together. And then if there's stuff in the middle of clips that you need to edit out, um, patch that whole thing together, and then bring the whole thing with all those clips patched together into like one of the other, like Filmora or DaVinci or LumaFusion or whatever you're gonna use, KineMaster,
Oh, do you know the
or
canvas?
whatever,
You
because
could
then you
record.
can because then you can just get the stuff out of the middle, but you got all your clips together, you got them in the order you want. You don't have to understand like the import methods of the other software, because you're just dragging one file into it, and then you can go through and find the sections that are dead space
Hmm.
or the ums and the ahs and take that out, and you don't have to worry about it. Simple methods. The other things people do is sometimes they'll sit down, they'll record, and then they'll go through and they'll know that like they did ums and ahs and they paused a lot, and then they'll go and bring that into their editing software, and they'll get overwhelmed, and they'll just either leave that stuff in and you lose people with that, or they won't post the video. And so I would think one of the um, things, and I wish somebody would have told me this, one of the things that's actually saved me a lot of time, and then this is apart from like if you're doing an unboxing or like a reaction thing that needs to like stay and you can't repeat, is a lot of times you'll save more time by sitting down and re-recording what you said, even if it was like 15-20 minutes long, than trying to go through and edit out all the little things that you didn't like, that you knew that you made a mistake on, because you're going to sit there and you're going to go through and you're going to cut those out, and then you're going to have to make sure it lines up so it's not all choppy. You put smooth transitions, and
Yeah.
you're going to spend, if it's even if it was a 25-minute long thing and you had to record again, you're going to spend more than that just redoing it, because even with some of my shorter clips, I'll spend sometimes a half an hour to an hour in editing if I'm going in and adding in like text or like other little clips into things. And I don't want to have to go in and edit out all the ums and the pauses and stuff. So sometimes you sit down and you record, and then you're like, oh, that didn't turn out really well, or no, I was too tired. But at least now I know what I wanted to say, and I've got that re-record some other time, or sit back down again, stand up, stretch, sit back down again, then look back at the camera and just rattle out what you wanted to say. Obviously breathe, but don't. And the other thing I would say to people, instead of saying and ah, just stop talking if your brain stops for a second and just sit there for a second and then go back to talking, because then you can see in the software you can just go and cut out those things. And when you do that, it will be more like a flow conversation, where if you have like an or an ah in there, if you don't get that, if you go too far, you're going to cut out part of a word, and if you don't cut out those far enough, you're going to have part of that, and people are going to know that you cut out stuff. So just re-recording a lot of times saves way more time than editing, especially when you're starting and you don't, to learn to be confident in front of the camera and edit is a task.
You know what? I
And
agree.
to this
because,
day, I do that. I sit down and
yeah,
go, take
yeah,
two.
I agree because this is how I edit. I want to tell people when I'm editing every clip. You know how, like you said, people do a lot and cut. I don't do that. The clip got to be perfect. So if I do clip one, um, it's gonna be perfect. Then if that's not perfect, I will move on. Then I move to clip two. If it's perfect, I'll do that perfect in sequence. So when I bring it to the LumaFusion, I know what I'm doing because they're all in sequence. There's no arms, nothing. That's the way that I do it. Because because my niece was telling me why I don't continue, why I stop and do it again. Because she did 2 years of graphic design. She was editing everything when she was going for that in college before she switched her major. And she said, "Well, why you stopping? Why you making more work? It's not more work because in the moment it might be more work, but for those couple of seconds, you saving more on the actual editing software. That's what I agree with you 100%, and that's what I'm agreeing because the editing software is, where the magic happen. But if you're gonna cut all that, like you said, you might say in between a word. You can't cut that out because the flow's not gonna be there, like you said. So I'm agreeing 400% with you. I'd rather not repeat it 20 times, but like, okay, I'm gonna repeat it 5 times after this. I'm gonna get it right. If not, I'm gonna come back and wait 20 minutes and come back and sit and try it again. So people seem to do more work and create more work. All I'm saying is simplify the process for a better seamless outcome.
And
I don't
notes
know if you
are
can add
helpful.
anything else.
Notes are helpful. So, like, if you're having a video idea and you're thinking through things you want to talk about, have like physical sticky notes or like notes up on your phone or notes up on something. If you're using your phone to record and that's your only thing, if you have a pen in your hand or your arm or any, something to write on, an envelope that came in junk mail, whatever, just writing down little notes can help. I tend to do is I have something I'm thinking about and it's been processing in my head and I know exactly what I would sit down and say. Like if I was gonna sit down and tell my wife about something I thought was neat, or about like explaining how to do something, or like, oh, I know how to do this and people probably know how to do this, but there might be a bunch of people that don't, so I want her to do a video on it.
Hmm.
And this is what I would say. Before I tell anybody, I just sit down, hit record, and spew it out. But when you're starting, or if you don't, you want to make sure you don't leave out a step, or you don't leave out any things, or you
Um,
need to like demo something. Taking notes are really helpful.
yeah, sticky notes in front of it when you're reading it. And also, Michael, we forgot something important. Practice before you hit the record button. That also is valuable if you're new
Get
to it, to the whole content creation. Go ahead.
get used to looking at yourself.
Hmm. Also,
I
with
would.
my camera, can I show you something? I got a trick. I don't know if you see this little black button. That's the record button. When it turns red, I know I'm recording. But that's good because if I'm looking at the camera, I don't have to look at the monitor of the viewfinder because then I'm not looking straight at the lens. So this is a trick. Or you could put a tape or something near the lens so you can look at it straight. Because sometimes I struggle with that when I'm blogging. But it's
Look
all part of it,
looking
the
at the
content
camera.
creation and learning. And also, before we continue, I want to say, if you're part of the replay crew, don't forget to hit like, comment, and those things. We're gonna stay here for like up to 8:30, if you don't mind, if you got the time. And that's all I want to do. I want to give value to people. If we finish early, we finish early. But also remember, that I'm an advocate of buying good equipment so you don't have to rebuy it again. I got to repeat that again because some people be like, "Oh, it's $5." Yeah, but $5 might break. If you pay 10, it might last 8 9 months. So then you're not shelling out more money. So think about those things.
The other
Let's
thing,
talk about so we talk about equipment and all that as part of the content creation. Now let's talk about the process of learning how to be in camera because that's part of the also the content creation and the part of the equipment that we use. With all that, then what's the point of having equipment if people are not gonna watch your videos? So I don't know what's your input on
practice.
that. Besides
Watch
practice,
watch
go
what
ahead.
other people do.
Hmm.
Um,
Let me go over here. Oh,
research which software packages do you video editing. I use LumaFusion and DaVinci
LumaFusion
Resolve
and Melon.
and um, Luma, and I've been using both of those on either my iMac or my MacBook. I'll use it on my iPad if I have to, which very rarely is going to happen because if I can carry my iPad, most likely I'm carrying my MacBook. I can throw it in my bag. I can carry it in my arm. I can slide it in a sleeve. I can, carry it with me. It's got good enough battery life. It's portable. I'm gonna have to be sitting down one way or another. It's not like I'm gonna be walking around editing. I could be, but just walk into something. And then for thumbnails, I use Pixelmator, and I use that on my iPad or my Mac. Lately, I've been using it on my Mac just because the machine learning background removal tool, it's a single click, is only available on the Mac version currently. And just getting to some of the things in the toolbars a little bit easier. And the thing I like about it is that for the most part, even for like beginner, it's pretty obvious. Like you grab the corners of the image that you brought in, you line them up to the corners of the when you open it up, there's canvases and you can go through and there's one that will say like YouTube thumbnail.
Hmm.
So
Templates.
that's 1280 by 720 because you can't have larger than a 2 meg file for a thumbnail. It can only be 2 megabytes. And so then what I'll do is I'll drag my image in and then just bring it to the corners, adjust things. Sometimes I will adjust it in and out, up and down, align it, and then just grabbing the text and putting it over it. Um, and using shadow to give it dimension so the text pops and stands out. Using like white text so that it catches people's eyes. Dark text is not great. So if your background, one of the things I figured out, like if my background has like a lightness to it, I will make a rounded corner rectangle and put it up there, and then put my text on top of that so that the text pops, and
Hmm.
then it also allows you to kind of put in your channel like a specific color. So like my channel, I've been using, there's kind of like this dark bluish color that I use in a lot of my thumbnails, so that allows me to place that in there.
Hey T. Um, what I was gonna say to that, I use Canvas. And Canvas is free. You can pay the pay version, give you more options. But I use Canvas all the time. For me, it's simple. I just started messing with the program, and don't be afraid to mess with any program if you're new, because you're new to the whole production. Because you're doing a production, you've been a producer, you've been marketer. Yes, take your time and learn those skills and break it down. Today, I'm gonna learn how to edit, and every day I'm still learning how to edit. I still go back and watch Lumia Future beginning videos. I mean, I tell people the more you watch, or if you want to pay for a class that is cheap, because some of the classes are better than YouTube. Because sometimes YouTube something can be confusing and stuff like that. Just go out there and learn the skill you need within your means. Always just use that. Just don't go
Well,
out and break the bank, and then later on, oh, I don't want to be a content creator, but I'm already $5,000 on the hole. Go ahead, Michael.
Canva is nice because you can use the app, but they also have a website, so you can do it on your computer and your account and everything syncs in there. And and I know you can do animations with that too. So for like
Correct.
people that like to do their own
And
animations
they
and
have one
stuff
more
and like
thing.
for their
I
intros,
don't know if you're aware.
and people who do drawing, I know there's people that use it and they draw in it and then they record like as they're drawing.
Yeah.
And there's a
Let
lot of
me tell
like
you one thing more, Michael.
pre-structured stuff too.
I want to add one more thing that you forgot about Canvas. Canvas got the ability to edit videos now. I think it was a month or a month and a half they implemented a
I'll have
feature.
to
Go
check
ahead,
that
Michael.
out.
So
Practice,
yeah,
practice, practice.
yeah, practice. Look, like for example, I mean, like I said, Rome wasn't built in one day. It
Make
just little by
make
little.
mistakes and move on.
Yeah.
Upload it
Oh,
even if it's not perfect. No video will ever be done.
if
I
you
won't say
actually,
no video will ever be perfect, but that's guaranteed. Nobody makes a perfect video. Doesn't matter if you're MKBHD, if you're Mr. Beast, if you're who you are. You know, you could have a multi-million-dollar production team, and it's not going to be perfect. There's always going to be something that they're going to be like, "Oh, I wish I would have done this differently," or "I could have done this easier." Or there was a video. There was actually a thing that MKBHD did where he had fans submitted like their way of redoing. They reproduced some of his intros to some of his videos and submitted, and they were like, "Why didn't we think of that? We used like $25,000 in equipment, and his looked the same, was faster, smoother, didn't require as much in post, and looked the same. Why did we I mean, and they were using this robotic arm and all this stuff, and this guy literally used like a book to slide things along, and like had wheels like on like a little. I was like, yep.
like
So
a
use
little,
what you have, learn, make mistakes, just keep uploading, push out content. Try to be consistent with the type of content, but even then, when you're first starting, you'll learn, and sometimes your audience can shift unless you're doing like very, very specific niche content. Like T, for example, he does case videos. Well, there's always going to be cases coming out, and then he learns but his is even more really kind of more specific than that. It's more so like iPhone case videos, and iPhone now he's doing iPhone MagSafe accessories because those are linked, but those are like tangential to the cases, so they're related, and people are still going to be searching for it, and he's still got. But like when he's done some
evergreen
like Android
content.
device ones, he doesn't get the same. So niching down, but it depends on what you're going to do, because for example, there are channels that do like tech news. There are channels that cover varying tech, but it's always under one. So it's like all
Hey,
Android, all Apple. But you could be doing both, because you might just be covering you could be covering like apps for health, apps for this, apps. You could just be doing somebody who does apps in general and does it for both sides, so that way it doesn't matter who your viewer is. They get supported, and it doesn't matter what device they have.
And also, I'm going to talk about a little bit about live streaming. And right now, it's me, Mike and Pepper, and the MPT, and that helps because you know why? Because we go back and forth, and it's easier. But sometimes I like to do it alone to force myself to learn the art of storytelling, because that's difficult. You'll never learn that. You just get better. You'll never get 100%. But like before, I couldn't flow. If you see my videos, it was robotic and everything. But the more you do, the more you learn, and that's all. And some people are like, "Why you do it? Why you put that pressure to yourself?" I said, "Like, I want that pressure, because without that, I would never move to level 2, level 3. I would never up my game of, that help you with power speaking, looking at the camera, being natural, being, regular." And it's like I tell people, and sometimes you could do tricks and stuff to get people attention. Like, hey, if you want to be part of my journey, come rock with me. If you like what you see, that's what I tell people. Subscribe, and it's stuff like that. It just depends how you do stuff, but the more you sit in there and you do it, the better you'll get. And there's nothing. If you ask me what is the perfect video, I won't talk. I'll stay quiet. When you ask me again, I'll stay quiet. And then you say, "Oh, what is good enough video?" Then I'll talk to you because there's no perfect video. I'm just being honest, and people don't understand that. You know, we don't need. Okay, we review this, yeah, and this costs money on products, but we also with one product you could do a lot of videos. Let me give you for example: unboxing, first impression, how to use the phone, camera, and then final review. See, a lot of videos in one product. Don't go, I can't do it because I don't have no ideas. No, it's always ideas. Right, Michael? Take it away.
Interact, develop relationship connection with other people within the
Correct?
community space of what you're doing, but also outside of what you're doing. So interacting with people that are outside. So if you're doing tech stuff or you're doing art stuff, but most people that do tech content don't necessarily watch. There's some people that don't even watch other tech content. Um, but interacting with people that are in the space of other things that you enjoy. So like, I enjoy watching art stuff. So there's some art streams that I watch, and I enjoy law stuff. So I
Hmm.
watch Emily's live streams sometimes, or I watch her quick bit stuff that she's been doing. I enjoy DIY stuff, so I watch a lot of DIY content.
Hmm.
But you can use the techniques that people use in making their content to help learn how you can improve your own stuff. But developing a community is huge because that also helps with brand. Because what will happen is you'll have what's actually happened with me where um, I can't remember. I don't know who did it first, but somebody started referring to me by MPT. You know, it's my channel. Um, and then also there's people that refer to me just by my last name. But like that's a branding thing. So like the whole MPT thing. The funny thing about that is I have other channels that I'm working on that will all be under the MPT sub brand, even if they're not necessarily um, tech related. I might just go by the MPT initials.
Yeah,
But
umbrella.
like I have an MPT behind the mines, which will be sort of tech related. But there's other stuff that I've been working on that's not that's that I'm in the process of getting ready around to upload a first video on, and I need to actually make the channel for it and figure out what I want to call it. But branding is and recognition and connection and relationship and development because people will like come to you and be like, "Oh, this is a really good video you did," or "You need to fix this, you need to fix that," um, or "I like that video, but here's an idea," or "Oh, this made me think of another," developing um, connection with people because then they will tell you what you need to improve on. They will celebrate your successes, and it will keep you going, motivated, and not get bored with interaction.
Yeah, perfect branding. Let me show you something. I don't know if y'all can see it. The perfect branding, my niece did that for me. That's my mascot besides my regular logo. So you know how people have names for their community or singers or stuff like that. So that's what I did because I wanted to have a mascot, and I don't know why it's too shiny. Because I got, let me put it real low so people could. Well, anyway, you see it at Twitter. It's pinned on my Twitter. So let me see if I can share the screen and find it quick. Go ahead, you could take it over, Michael, while I look for this.
And sometimes not being afraid to be like doing your own thing and offend people. Um, you know, I had to consider the fact that I have to consider the fact, or try to consider the fact that other people are streaming on certain days. But then at the same time, um, sometimes there are people that stream like every day of the week, and so and I only have certain time that I can stream at because I have family and other things that I have to work around. And so sometimes I might have to stream when somebody else is. But people usually understand that. Or I'll try to like, oh, somebody's not gonna stream this week, so maybe I'll stream on that day. Like the was a couple weeks, few weeks that you weren't streaming, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna stream at that time, because it, you know, was available. I had ideas and things I wanted to talk about, and I knew that it wouldn't interfere with anybody else. And now there's Thursdays, when Wednesday before Easy Streams is available. Thursdays looking to be that there's gonna be a slot that's potentially opening up or opened up, or I might go earlier or later. I don't know. I kind of want to do I kind of want to do something as like a podcast style.
Oh yeah,
I
that'd be
know
good.
that like I know that with like live streaming, one of the number one rules is to interact with your chat. Like Sharpfin, talking about YouTube etiquette in the chat there, and interacting with your chat, having the conversation flow through that. I tend to try to end a stream, unless I'm just having guests on. I like enjoying the conversation with that, but like if things kind of fall off in the chat, I'll try to wrap things up. But
Oh yeah, that's true.
But one of the things that I've been thinking about is
Mhm.
having a second day of the week that I do a stream that is kind of a me talking to. It would be almost like I would do a video. So I'm gonna talk to the camera and chat if it comes in, and everybody would know this. It's gonna be in the description, and it's going to be. I'm probably wouldn't scroll across the bottom, but the idea would be you come in and I talk for a little bit, and I'm not even gonna. It would be almost like a video, almost like a premiere, where I'm not necessarily
Oh,
going to
okay.
acknowledge that the chat is there, and then go to the chat after that, because the idea is kind of podcast.
Yeah, do the podcast and then do the chat. Let me show this quick, Michael. So there you go. That is my Brandon, and it's all done. My niece is an incredible artist. She could drop anything, faces, anything. She ridiculous, sharky nose. So that's my Brandon. So basically, she did something like me, and this was 98. 97% was the name came about Take Loving Mama. She gave it to me because I asked, and then LaShawn and Big Yon help out to finish the name. So that's what I use. That's my mascot. So that's another thing. I'm thinking that I want to do like a sticker with that and put them back off my iPad. I don't know why, but I'm thinking do more stuff like that. So because Brandon could get, I got a couple of stuff that I bought like a clock and everything. So that
That
also
could
could
go
help
on a
out.
T-shirt. That could go on a sticker. It could go on a hat.
Correct.
Um,
So
one of the one of the things I've been thinking about is
stuff
um,
sharing.
when eventually here, hopefully before too long, it will happen. When I get to the point where I can have like members and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
um, of what I would call might have like membership levels and what I would call them. And at first I was thinking about like having like it almost like the Scoville scale. So like the lower amount would be like one chili pepper, and then I'd have like and then I'd have like a habanero pepper, and like a California Reaper would be like the top. But then I realized that the problem with all of that stuff is there's already companies that use like a chili pepper or like multiple for like their levels of spiciness. Chinese restaurants, Chili's uses it, so I'd have to be careful about how I did it. But if I did it right and had somebody draw like little animated little character ones, it would be cute to do. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You know, I like that. Like do them like an animated type of character. Yeah, I like
If I
that.
had the money to do it, I'd buy the rights to the "I'm a Pepper, You're a Pepper, Don't I'm a Pepper When You Want to Be a Pepper Too" theme song from Dr. Pepper, and then use that, and then have that as my theme song for getting people to join the group.
Hmm.
That'd be expensive though.
Hmm. Like a lot of people got that because SAG got um what is SAG? I forgot. SAG Pack, and then Travis got the intro. So it's I mean it's a lot of stuff you could do, you know. So a lot of people got that, and even famous artists like singers, they always got their mascot and logo as they call they, you know what I mean. So yeah, so that I like that because T for Fun it was just a creative thing that came about by Take Loving Mama because I asked she's like boom boom right there 2 seconds she was giving me like a variation of name, but it was close, and then all those three people put it all together. But she did most of the work, so I'm grateful and thankful for that. You know, that's another thing. I rock with a lot of people, and I always giving value, and I'm always sharing. And being supported, like you said, and look, the love is returned back. Some people help you out. Some people, oh, Michael Pepper, you need something? Oh, I got it. It's collecting dust here. You can have it. I'll mail it to you. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Because if you got a rapport, and that helps. That's also part of you know help your equipment and help to get better stuff like that. Let me see this. What she's talking about.
She says, of course, she'd want to be a Pepper Too. Good play on your name for sure.
Oh yeah, it's playing your name, and
My
that's
uncle graduated medical school. My parents and I think some of my other aunts and uncles um, got a hold of um, posters and different memorabilia from Dr. Pepper stuff because, of course, he was going to be a doctor and
Mhm.
last name Pepper, and they got a hold of a bunch of that and like the
Oh
tins
yeah.
that they used to have, the lunch tins and like
Hmm.
um, pins and magnets and stuff. Yeah.
Right there, perfect. T Fun Crew, that's what it is. Yeah.
I was trying to
So
think of something with like MPT squad. No, people have already have team squad.
yeah, Squad
Nerd,
been used a
the
lot.
nerd herd that already taken. Um, the geek squeak. I thought that'd be funny.
Yeah, but
A
we'll
bunch
come
of
up
little
with
mice.
yeah, yeah. You can ask other people come up with something. Well, I'm about to close this because we've been an hour and 30 minutes. And thanks for coming in. Before we close it, I just want to give the last remarks. Um, if you really, if you really started being a content creator, and you're a new content creator, I'll say this again because I said it in my actual um, Twitter Spaces the other day. I was bummed out you didn't come by, but and also I did it in a video. The video is kind of choppy because I didn't use a stabilization on my camera. I put it towards. It's only have a software called Catalyst, and it lets you stabilize. So I did it through that, but it wasn't stabilized enough. But the video is gonna be motivation stuff like that. So I'm gonna still put it out there because it's very good. And I like to leave affirmation and stuff like that to people. Even when you're starting or you already along the journey and you're having problems and you're thinking of quitting or you be like, why is this not working? Remember, I'm gonna go right now. You are good enough. No, that's not the correct word. You are. I'm speaking to you, Michael Pepper, and the rest of the people behind you and the chat listening. You are enough. Repeat after me. Yes, I am enough and I will succeed because I do not want to live without trying. And I'll say this the day that I die, I will die with trying, not without trying. With that said, much love, peace, and stay tuned for the same thing, same channel, whatever. You get it? I'm stuttering, but that's fine. Michael, whatever you want to say, the closing remark, I'll leave it to you. Anything you want to add,
Thanks,
Michael?
Louis.
Mhm.
My
With that
name,
said,
of course.
much
I'm
love,
Michael
peace.
Pepper of Michael Pepper Tech. I don't only talk tech, I live it, I love it, I enjoy it. And we will see you all on the flip
Around the
side. Peace
interwebs.
out.
Same time, same channel. Tune in. Bye. Okay, let me end the stream.